Hey guys, InfoSec operator here, and welcome to another tutorial. Now, you guys have been begging me to make a brand new tutorial on Python for hacking. I mean, that has been each of your all-time favorite video. I got 6,000 views on it. I could probably have countless subscribers just from that one video. So I'm going to answer the call that each of you have been giving me, and we're going to make a series of Python for hacking tutorials, starting from the bottom, and then we're going to work our way throughout Python and learn how to gear this towards using it for hacking on both Windows 10 as well as Linux, because obviously we want to know how to deploy it right while we're using Kali Linux and our other tools. So we want to be able to just pull up an editor, a text editor within our terminal, and just plot out our own hacking tools using Python. So that's exactly what we're going to get into, and we're going to figure out how it all works, literally from the first time that you ever create a Python file all the way to deploying them as cyber weapons. Do use this video for educational purposes only. Do not use it against targets. Did I say targets? Do not use this stuff for malicious purposes. Just use it in your own environment on virtual machines and things like that. But without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into the video and start learning Python. As you see on the screen here, the first thing that I want each of you to do, if you don't already have this, is go to python.org/downloads, and you're going to get Python for Windows 10. Now, we know that we're going to use Python a lot in Kali Linux or Linux of your choice, but I'm just giving you guys an easy environment to learn, because the only actual important thing to learn here is not which system you're using it on, but you want to be able to learn the actual programming language. So again, it does not matter which system we're using it on. Once we get to actually deploying Python programs to use on targets or things of that nature, we'll go ahead and start getting back into the Kali Linux mode. But right now, I just want each of you to get this IDLE on Windows. So it works for any Windows operating system like 7, 8.1, or 8, and most definitely Windows 10, which I'm assuming most of you have now. And the version that I'm going to be using is Python 3.9.2. You just go ahead and download that. It's nothing difficult for setting it up. I believe I just used all the factory settings and started running the program. So let's go ahead and get that downloaded and then join me back again. Alright, so once we have this downloaded, we can just go into our search bar as we see on the screen, and we're just going to look up our idle, and right there it shows up as an app with the Python 3.9 64-bit, and of course it automatically downloads as each of you have either a 32-bit or a 64-bit version of Windows. So once we click on that, we're going to run as administrator, just so that way it has everything that we need. We don't have to go backwards or do anything wild. We're going to allow it to make changes to the device. And once it loads up, we can actually start getting in here and doing some Python. The first thing that I want each of you to understand is the absolute basics of Python and the structure of Python. So here we got our idle shell, and I'm going to try to move this to the center of the screen. Alright, and we already get a little tiny bit of information when what we're doing, when it started up, whatever, okay? And we got type help, copyright, credits, or license. For more information, we don't need that. what we're going to focus on right now is doing some very simple stuff and learning some very simple things, such as your operand and operator. So 2 plus 2. Okay, I know it's such a simple thing. We already know what the answer is, but we want to know, does Python know how to interpret this? And we can say yes, it does, because we got 2 is our operand, which would be your thing to work on, and then your operator, being the plus symbol, is the thing to do. And then we got our other 2, which is another operand, right? And we hit enter, and it comes out with 4 is the answer. Okay, so we kind of just used two different things, and we combined them, or told it how to handle that, right? So that's kind of just like a super layman's term of setting up a simple, I guess a string, you could call it, but then it also knows how to multiply. So we do 2 times 2, and when we're doing multiplication, we do the asterisk. And again, it comes out as 4, as we know. Okay, so this is just simple math stuff, and don't let the math things freak you out, because unless you're getting into more of the data and data analysis of Python, you don't have to be great at math. I'm not great at math, okay? I know my way around math, but I'm not perfect with it by any means whatsoever. So that's just a simple, okay, now what happens if we simply want to tell it to output hello? Well, first, let's just type in hello and hit enter, and we get an error, okay, because we didn't set that up correctly. In Python, we need a apostrophe, and then we type hello, and then end closing apostrophe, and it comes out hello. Okay, so what if we want to do hello world? Does hello world. Okay, so now though, here's what the point I was doing the 2 plus 2 and 2 times 2 is, because we can do this with strings of words, okay? But watch what happens when I do world and there's no space. We think that that plus mark may give us a space. That's not correct. Now it's combined, it's just one singular word, or it tried to come up with it being one singular word, hello world. All right, now I'm not getting into the nitty-gritty yet with each of you on how this is going to work out, like in the deep details. I'm just giving you a quick flash of this is how Python works, okay? We're not getting into the details just yet, but we will be. So we want a space in between our hello world, instead of it just turning into one word. So again, we're going to type in hello plus, and then we're going to put a little space in front of the world after the apostrophe, opening apostrophe, hit enter, and we got two separated words, because now it's understanding, oh, okay, this is 2 separate words, right? So that's just some really basic simple stuff on like how to, the operand operator, how it deciphers, how to break information up into proper format that we read. If you guys understand anything about programming, you'll know that it transfers. The reason why we use like idle and these emulators and things like that, and so it can go down into binary values, which we're actually, Python will be able to decipher for us if you are ever wondering about binary values, but we're going to take a look at that pretty soon. Alright, so now we have what we're going to start getting into some functions here. Functions is going to be the primary focus of Python in our programs, because we need functions to do the things that we're telling this program to do, especially when it comes to hacking. It needs to know where to point, what to point to, and what kind of information we're going to get, or what kind of target we're going to give it, and it has to function. So functions are the main core of these programs that we're going to be focusing on. So we're just going to go over basic setups of a function, right? So for the first one, I want to do ordinal value of a letter. To do that, we type ORD, get our opening parenthesis, our opening quote, or whatever you want to call that, and then end, close our parenthesis, right? So now we have to hit enter, and we get the value. W is valued at 87 in ordinal value. Now we can reverse this, and we could also do CHR, and we can find out what letter it would be for 87. And we found W, right? It should have been the same. Then we also can do binary. We can find out the binary value of a number. So bin for binary, as always, and then let's do number 8, and then we hit enter, and it starts with OB, and it would be 1000. So this is just some super basic entry-level stuff into Python, but next we're going to start getting into the good stuff, the stuff that you guys really wanted to learn. But this is just some really simple stuff in Python, and if it helped you and you're newer to Python, start here, play around with it a little bit, get familiar with what it looks like, how it feels, what you can type, what you can't type, etc., etc., and then subscribe to the channel for more. And let's get into some bigger, better tutorials. All right, all this basic stuff is killing me here, so we're just going to start getting into some really good stuff in these upcoming tutorials. So guys, thank you for watching the video. If the video helped you out in any way, shape, or form, give it a thumbs up, and definitely do subscribe to the channel. That helps me get the brain power and the motivation to keep teaching each of you like I did with this video. So guys, InfoSec operator out.